Welcome to the Arachnos podcast. My name is Enikő Fazekas, and we are joined today by Katalin Kuruc from the AgriforValor thematic network. Hello, Katalin. Could you please give me a general overview of the AgriforValor thematic network and its purpose?
Hello, it's nice to meet you. The AgriforValor project was a Horizon 2020 thematic network that ran from 2016 to 2018, so for about 3 years. And the main purpose was to build a multi-actor chain about biomass value provision and to profit from innovation partnership networks throughout Europe, but mostly from Hungary, Spain, and Ireland. This was a network of biomass valorization institutes, mostly research organizations or universities, who are active in creating innovative ideas for valorizing biomass, secondary or primary biomass from agriculture or forestry, and developing these innovative ideas into marketable products.
What activities did you perform in this thematic network?
The Hungarian participant was Baj Zoltán Nonprofit Ltd, which is an applied research institute in Hungary, and we have a biotechnology division that deals with the valorization of biomass, innovative use, and creating innovative uses for biomass in forestry and agriculture. Our role was to build a network in Hungary of similar institutes, from universities to research institutes to the industry, the biomass industry, that are able to create new ideas in biomass valorization and that are able to develop these ideas into marketable products. The cooperation between these innovative institutes resulted in a number of new ideas and near market opportunities for biomass valorization. As you know, Hungary has considerable amounts of available biomass that can be used for multiple purposes. And the aim of the project was, among others, to valorize, to make use of the available biomass in Hungary in innovative ways, which means that besides energy production from biomass, for example, the production of feeding opportunities or food, innovative food ideas, or even chemicals from biomass was also examined, and several new ideas were taken on board and discussed with a number of actors in the innovation chain.
Okay, thank you. Could you please give an account of what worked well during this project?
I think the most valuable part was partly a database, an online database that is available still on the AgriforValor website that contains best practices from Europe, from several countries, about how to use biomass and what innovative products are available already on the market. This served the purpose of distributing and disseminating available knowledge and also preventing maybe to repeat already available technologies, so that we don't, to take stock of what we already have and what is already available on the market, and not to reproduce existing products, but to concentrate on innovative use of biomass. So there is an online database that can help companies or researchers to know already what is available. So that was part of the really valuable output of the project. The other part was the networks that were created in Ireland, Spain, and Hungary. these were multi-actor networks, meaning that universities, so basic research, applied research institutes, and industry worked together to produce innovative product ideas. The third part of the project that was really valuable was identifying innovative ideas from the so-called hubs, the networks, the national networks. And there was an elaboration of innovative ideas that led to a list of novel use of biomass. And some of these ideas were developed into so-called innovation partnership groups that contained various expertise necessary to develop an innovative idea into a marketable product. And the project consortium worked with these innovation partnership groups throughout Europe and provided different sort of assistance for their work in developing the marketable product itself by the end of the project or after the end of the project. The support consisted of different types of trainings for these innovation partnership groups. And the trainings included, for example, exploitation trainings about legal issues, so how to handle the IPR contained in the innovation partnership groups, and how to manage the innovation process that is necessary to take a possible product on TRL level 3 or 4, for example, and develop into a product on TRL level 8 or 9 that is really close to the market already. We also discussed and provided training about financing opportunities, meaning possible grants, for example, from EU grants, Horizon 2020 or Interact projects, and also how to include venture capital into the product development. And of course, there was a general training about bioeconomic principles, how to make the use of the available knowledge in research on bioeconomy. We also provided some training on entrepreneurial skills necessary to set up new startup companies. We offered business model development trainings, including skills on strategy and organization, social enterprise development, business planning, commercialization, and networking. So these were the most valuable outputs of the project.
Okay, thank you. What challenges did you have to face during this project? What are your feelings about these areas you mentioned?
The first challenge was to collect available best practices in biomass valorization. So we really had to work on identifying smaller or larger companies and products and technologies that are already available. This took up about a year to really identify and to describe technologies that are available on the market, because of course not everybody is, not each company is willing to provide details about their technologies, because this is maybe the most valuable part of their company. But wherever it was possible, we collected very good practices, I think. The second challenge was building the hub. And for this, we used available clusters or previous clusters, for example, and taking on or taking up the working of the hub was also another challenge that that we had to work on. If you build a hub, I think that you have to provide continuous contacting and networking opportunities for them, and also provide content for the hub that they can work together and that really gives a meaning for their cooperation.
Can you give me a number? How many good practices have you collected during the project?
I think about 100 good practices were collected throughout Europe, maybe a bit more. But you have to take into consideration that these technologies, that a lot of companies use similar technologies. The most popular use of biomass is, of course, energy production, because that is the technology that is the most widespread throughout Europe. So one of the challenges was to identify new sorts of technologies that are not about energy production or maybe fuel production, but production of feed, food, or fine chemicals from biomass. That is probably the smallest part of the market at the moment, but that also at the same time, this also provides the most added value to the use of biomass. So this is the most complex opportunity to the use of biomass.
Mm-hmm.
Can you follow me?
Yes, thank you
Okay.
for sharing this information. What are you the most looking forward to achieving during this project? You mentioned the hub and the best practices. What are you the most proud of?
I think that we can be the most proud of the innovation partnership groups that we created, because this was the bulk of the work, to identify new innovation ideas that are not only about energy production, but also about innovative use of biomass. So that was the hardest part of the work. And of course, we continued cooperation with them, provided trainings. And there was also a European level competition for these innovation partnership groups. So these IPGs from Ireland, Spain, and Hungary had national level competitions. And then we had a European level competition where one of the best ideas from Hungary was also awarded. And this idea was about the use of bark, an innovative use of bark for insulation purposes in houses. And this this idea was one of the best ideas for using forestry biomass. I have to mention that we had two other innovative ideas. One of the innovation partnership groups was about developing a regional service package for technology that includes seeds for medicinal plants. So this is a new method of seeding plants, medicinal plants, that uses biomass from harvest. And the other innovation, the third part innovation partnership group developed a new idea about using wood chip and the wood industry and producing scrap boards, which is an available technology already on the market. But this innovation partnership group worked on using the parts of wood chip that are not otherwise usable. This was the development of an existing product and making it cheaper and using raw material that is not otherwise usable.
During this project, did you involve end users? If yes, what has been the response from the end users? How did you measure it?
So these ideas that we worked on, the innovation partnership groups, all worked on different TRL levels. So one of the ideas was only in a beginner state, so TRL level 2 or 3. There were other ideas that were already on higher technology readiness level, which means that they were closer to the market And as they were closer to the market, they could involve some possible end users and testing of the product that they were developing. This means that, for example, the use of bark for insulation was already tested in almost real environment.
Thank you for sharing this. Did you have any unexpected findings in the course of this thematic network?
Probably what we wanted to achieve was really achieved, that we were able to identify ideas that do not want to produce energy or fuel from biomass.
Mm-hmm.
But, some really innovative and unusual ways to achieve, to valorize the biomass that is available in Hungary. I think that this wasn't really unexpected, but this was expected because this was one of the major objectives of the project, to do something different, not just to repeat the same available technologies.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So let's turn to another question. How did you find it working with partners across Europe during this project?
Overall, it was a very nice experience to participate in this project. I was the project manager for about 3 years, and it seems that this was a project that is really maybe a passion for all the participants. So this was the most important research. It was for all partners, it was the most important research field. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something that they invest a lot of energy into. Partners had a really widespread partner network in their countries, which meant that they were able to identify and to show the other participants some really interesting products, meaning, for example, the use of grass in Ireland and also in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. Really provides interesting opportunities from production of, from use of grass in the production of paper products, for example. Mm-hmm. The Spanish participant was really strong on using different residues from olive oil production into innovative ideas. And they didn't only concentrate on producing energy or fuel, but they also produced some really innovative technologies. I mean, the way that biomass is used, and from machinery to production processes that could be provided with new technologies. And also not just the technology, but also the product itself was really innovative. I think that what the project really showed, that there is a development process going on in Europe, which means that more and more SMEs are working on making use of what is available as raw materials, and biomass is really available in these countries, instead of using raw materials that are not environmentally friendly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of SMEs are really thinking about producing products that are environmentally friendly, instead of using traditional raw materials that put a big burden on the environment and that are really costly sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Okay. About working with partners across Europe, how did you find it, the distance working? Which systems did you use?
This was a very traditional project from the point of view that there were many personal meetings, and there were no problems with personal meetings. The consortium met at least twice a year, mm-hmm. and we had study visits and international study visits when we visited the other hubs countries and visited the SMEs and industry and innovative ideas throughout the participating countries, meaning that we had study visits in Spain, Hungary, Ireland, and the Netherlands. But we also use some online tools. For example, we created the online database for best practices that is available on the AgriforValor website, agriforvalor.eu, and that's available. Sometimes we use video conferencing and teleconferencing. I mean, we also had to use these for regular project meetings. So yes, that's it mostly.
Thank you.
We produced some videos to show the working of the innovation partnership groups. That is, I think, also available on the website. So this is something that is making more and more use of, that is made more and more use of, the production of videos and online educational materials or online dissemination materials that is that remains available after the project as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Also produced some studies and dissemination materials or brochures, for example, about the innovation partnership groups. That is a reading material, basically about 20 pages. That sums up most of the professional work that we did in the project.
Did you get access to a useful range of expertise, cultures, and experiences during the project?
Yes, it was a really interesting learning process. Different ideas about innovation, different ideas about working methods and working cultures had to work together for 3 years. Sometimes it wasn't really easy. Sometimes we really had to be flexible about what we think about, for example, deadlines in different parts of Europe. We all know this. We all know the stereotypes, and sometimes the stereotypes really work, and sometimes they just don't. So we had to manage and work in a really international environment, which is always exciting. And I think that I personally had a lot of very nice experiences from working together with different cultures. I think that working internationally is interesting, and it really provides a lot of new information and experiences that probably one cannot achieve in a national environment, because it's mostly, of course, what we share already and what we all know already. And of course, the different, really the information about what biomass means. For example, in Spain, it's about olive production. In Ireland, it's about grass production, and really innovative uses of grass production. I never thought that it could be so interesting to learn about how the Irish produce a massive amount of grass that they use for various purposes, from feed production to paper production to energy production throughout the country. And of course, in Hungary, it was also very interesting to learn that we are a superpower in biomass production, and that we could achieve really innovation in the different various uses of biomass. I never would have thought that before the project. So there were a lot of new information, not a lot of new knowledge. The innovation process itself was really interesting to go through with the innovation partnership groups in the development of their ideas from scratch to product. So that's something that I really appreciated. And of course, everybody wanted to contribute and to contribute to the success of the project. And that was a super experience.
Yeah. Did your network extend beyond your own project?
So we set up a so-called innovation hub in Hungary. I was the so-called hub manager. The hub means a network, a professional network of different types of institutes, from university to research and development to industry. And of course, different other expertise also participated. And this was beyond the project. So Baj Zoltán was the hub manager, the coordinator of the hub. And of course, this included about 100 other institutes from Hungary. So the AgriforValor hub in Hungary included about 100 other institutes who were aware of the project and participated in trainings and events.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So regarding the aims of the Erasmus project, to facilitate networking between thematic networks and collator outputs in one knowledge-based system. Do you think it will help with the challenges you mentioned, its relation to the networking and the multi-actor approach?
Probably yes. I think that if the experiences drawn from different projects can be put into one place and can be available in one place on the internet, and if this is really something that reaches the target audience, the professional audience, then this kind of mitigation between projects can help to maintain the previous project's results. So I think it's definitely something that helps to build new networks.
And do you think will it be valuable to learn from other thematic networks and potentially work together on similar topics?
Yes, and we do that. So after the AgriforValor project ended, our institute, Baj Zoltán Nonprofit Ltd, joined another consortium about the bioeconomy, and continues to work on building professional networks in Hungary, professional clusters. So we participate now in another project titled Power for Bio. And we think that we can continue to contribute to this kind of professional networking throughout the country and also in Europe.
And what do you think about having a common repository for thematic networks outputs?
That's, as I said, it's useful, and if it really reaches the target audiences. So if there is an extensive information campaign towards the target audiences, and they find it really useful. I mean, if it's brief and if it really points to the major information points that they can use in their everyday work, then I really welcome the idea, and I wish all the best for this project.
Okay, so thank you for giving this interview to me. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The Erasmus project has received funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme under Grant Agreement number 817863.
Royalty-free music from Ben Sound.